Good day to everyone, and as always, welcome to our weekly market update provided by SC Securities. As always, we'll be going over the main news pertaining to the stock market this week and some of the major macro factors, as well as looking at the secondary market and the global commodities market and how it pertains to certain counters in Sri Lanka, and finally a rundown on the global markets as well. As always, we'll finish with Harin giving us a technical analysis on the oil share and our pick of the week this week. So without further ado, let's dive in. The market actually witnessed some turbulence. Over the last 2 weeks, we saw the market rally mainly on the back of Expo. However, we saw that that eroding quite significantly this week. The all share actually fell by 1.3% this week, whilst the S&P fell by 1.58% this week. The turbulent nature can be attributed to the fact that there has been some negative sentiment arising from the fact that there are fresh lockdown concerns and as Delta variant spreads rampantly throughout Sri Lanka. So we have seen a huge spike in cases, and more and more fears are being stoked that we might be going into another lockdown as a worst case scenario as the medical system starts to bulk under the pressure. In terms of other highlights this week that we can see, Thursday in particular was a significantly bad day. We saw the all share drop by 114 points. This was also the day that JAT actually IPO'd, but actually wasn't one of the better days to open in the secondary market. Turnover also has seen some turbulence this week, ranging all the way down to 2,300, whilst we saw a high of 4,700. Wednesday actually saw net foreign outflows breaking a 4-day consecutive run of net foreign inflows. That's from Thursday last week onwards. This week we actually saw net foreign outflow for the week peak at 1.29 billion. In terms of some of the more macro related news, we see that one, Sri Lanka Consumer Affairs Authority has granted approval for LAFGAS to increase the price of their LPG gas cylinders in a bid to resolve the LP gas shortage. As everyone can recall, last month, LAFS did suspend imports of LP gas into the country as they were looking to increase the price of LP gas. But now this has temporarily somewhat been resolved. The government has stated, though, that they will not increase the price of literal gas and that it would remain unchanged. In terms of other news, the new SEC bill, or the Securities and Exchange Commission bill, that will look to regulate the capital markets in line with a more current international best practices standpoint, will be taken up on the 18th of August. This was actually deferred from last month. The bill is likely to be debated and passed on the same day. And in other news, the government has decided to open for tourists from India, the country's biggest tourism source, subject to strict health guidelines. We have seen that over the past, India has been a huge tourism hub for us, but again, given the current situation, we don't know how much this will result in an influx, given the situation on the ground, not just here, but in the whole of South Asia as a whole. In terms of secondary market news, the bond yields were slightly up for this week, whilst the rupee remained somewhat inactive in the forex market. There were 2 auctions held this week. Firstly, Sri Lankan development bond auction worth $75 million went unsold again, with only 61 million being bought. There is a tap issue that has been open for a post-auction sale until the evening of today. We still haven't gotten the details about that. And furthermore, there was a T-bill auction held on the 11th of August that saw most of the T-bills offered being sold, but majority of them were short tenor bonds, and that's where the highest demand came for. We saw 26.2 billion, of 3-month T-bills and 2.1 billion of 6-month bills being absorbed, whereas only 10 million of the 12-month bills were actually sold. In terms of the commodity market, the global commodity market, we see that Out of the big tickers, gold prices actually posted a 0.2% rise on Friday amid concerns over rising cases in Delta variant. But however, gold is at the time of publishing this report, set for a weekly drop of close to 2.3% after last week's US jobs report boosted early tapering expectations by the Fed, which actually sent bullion prices down to a 4-month low. In terms of the other major tickers, Aluminium still continued its upward trajectory, closing in on their highest level in 10 years. We still do maintain, given a couple of weeks ago, we did say that aluminium prices will go up to 3,000 US dollars per ton next year, as global demand for pretty much everything from beer cans to packaging rebounds from the pandemic. As of 2021, the metal price has surged 31%. Now, this actually pertains to counters such as Alumex, which the rising prices of aluminium will affect their profit margins moving forward. And finally, in terms of global market news, the European and US markets actually gained last week on the back of a continued strong earnings season. The S&P 500 gained 0.3%, whilst the NASDAQ composite rose by 0.35% and Dow Jones increased by 0.1%. The pan-Euro stock 600 was 0.15% higher on Thursday. It equaled its longest winning streak. And yes, however, though this was not translated towards the Asian markets as Asian stocks continued to slump this week, the MSCI's broadest index of Asia Pacific shares outside of Japan fell 0.59%, having closed lower on each of the past 3 days. Traders have been citing continued worries about potential new regulatory crackdowns in China and the fallout from surging Delta variant cases, especially in countries such as Indonesia, Malaysia, and the rest of that Southeast Asian region. Those are the main highlights for this week. I will now hand it over to Harin, who will take you over the notions for the ASPI for this week, and our pick of the week, Greg or Ambient Holdings. Over to you, Harin.
Thank you, Nuwan. So, talking about the all-share index, we were able to see that the index closed at 7,996.04 for the week ended 13th August. So it is currently at a daily support level of 7,950, 8,000. So as we know, 8,000 is a psychological area. So since the index is somewhat in the daily support level 7,950, 8,000, it needs to sustain above 8,000 in order to retain above 8,000 and carry its bullish momentum. But as if it's declining, as we can see over the past few days, it has been declining and making certain, trying to make certain lows. So on August 10th, we were able to see it made a high of 8,141.23, and even before that, August 4th, we were able to see it made a high of 8,273.78, and it is, and so looking at the past two highs, which is on 10th and 4th, the 10th should have been closed above the daily resistance 8,200, 8,250, making it a higher high formation in order to carry its bullish momentum. So what has happened is it has closed, so the index has closed in the daily support level for this week. So if it goes below 7,900, 8,000, if it declines, we'll be able to see it going further down at least to the level of 7,861.18 to make a new low formation. So that would be July 6th high. So after that, we will be able to see it making a small retest to on the daily support level, making it a new resistance level. And then if the bearish momentum continues, it would further go down, carrying its momentum to the daily support level of 7,650, 7,700, which is the previous support level, and also July 2nd support level. So looking at the EMA levels, we can see clearly that previously 8 and 18 moving average crossed somewhere in April, somewhat around in April, May. So after that, we weren't able to see when, so the bullish momentum continued, and we weren't able to see another crossing in the EMA levels 18 and 8. So if 8 and 18 moving averages close, which means the blue, which is referred to the 8 moving average, and the red, which is referred to the 18. So 8-day moving average, if the 8-day moving average crosses the 18-day moving average, we'll be able to expect further bearish momentum. We are breaking this daily support level 7,958,000, where it would come down to the 7,861.18 key area, and making a retest, official retest to the daily support level 7,958,000 in order to make it a daily resistance level. And further, if it keeps on decline, we'll be able to see it going down to the daily support level 7,650, 7,700. So if it so in the other scenario would be, if it sustains above this daily support level, we'll be able to see it somewhat around consolidating in between this daily support level 7,950, 8,000, and the daily resistance 8,200, 8,250. So the worst case scenario, if a crossing comes, and also if if a decline occurs, we'll be able to see it moving further, going down below the psychological area of 8,000. So moving ahead with our top of the week, Ambient Holdings PLC, which is Greg. So on Greg, this is the weekly chart, and we were able to see previously in 2000, starting from 2020, early 2021, we were able to see it's making it. There was a triangle pattern formation, which is a symmetrical triangle pattern, and we were able to see it break out on somewhat around in July. We were able to see it breaking out the triangle pattern, and then as of August, we were able to see it making certain new highs for 2021. So basically, the price went to reached a high of 45.5 and closed at 39.9 for the weekend at 13th August. So it is somewhere around below a monthly resistance level, which is 40 and 42. So it closed below the monthly resistance level 40, 42. So if it stays below this monthly resistance level, it would touch the weekly support of 35.5, 36.5 again. And talking about the RSI also, the weekly RSI is quite overbought, which is at 84.51. So looking at the moving averages, we can see that there's a strong gap between the current close price, and also the moving average 8 and 18 moving average. So there needs to be somewhat around a correction. So the price, if the price remains below monthly resistance 40, 42, the price could come down to the weekly support 35.5, 36.5, and further, if it breaks, we'll be able to expect the monthly support level of 29, 31. That would be somewhat around a higher low formation coming down the price. If the price comes down again to the weekly support and breaking the weekly support ahead to the monthly support. So another case would be if the price sustains above the monthly resistance 40, 42, we'll be able to expect it reaching the weekly resistance 46.5, 47.5. So but the RSI is still quite overbought, so therefore it is highly likely that it could sustain below monthly resistance 40, 42 and coming to the weekly support of 35.5, 36.5. So thank you. Over to you, Nuwan.
Thanks, Harin. And as always, please do, you can get the full report on this as we mail it to our entire client base. But this is, and you can also follow us on our other platforms. So our YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook, as we will inundate you all with the new content. So please do follow us on these platforms, give us a like and subscribe. And wish you all a great weekend ahead, and stay safe, everyone. Thank you.